cherish all the time you spend, you tuned into. It's time again to cherish all the time you spend, you tuned into. It's the number one podcast. The topics of discussion when we broadcast. So all them artificial man jokes, we do it natural from the concrete to a public standpoint. Real, wherever you're from, life is coexisting, but to know the real, you just gotta listen. Wherever you're from, life is coexisting, but to know the real.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to the 52 Scott Podcast. I'm your host, K Money, and in the building with me, my co-host Slash, Freddie G, and Comedian 96. Collectively, we are the Mind of Men. You can find us on X, formerly known as Twitter, at 52 Scott Podcast, Instagram and Facebook, the 52 Scott Podcast, and if you're on YouTube, don't forget to like and or subscribe. Welcome, fellas, to another True Tuesday episode. Today, man, you have to either have been deceased, in a coma, or Comedian 96 not to have known the news that have occurred in the last week or so. And I'm speaking on the American Airlines flight and the Army Black Hawk helicopter that crashed recently.
Yeah, man.
You guys heard about that, huh?
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, American Airlines 5342 was traveling from Wichita, Kansas, and was carrying approximately 60 passengers and 4 crew members, if I'm not mistaken, from a competition, figure skating competition, if I'm not mistaken. They were carrying some figure skaters and coaches as well as family members, and if I'm not mistaken, also 2 Russian athletes that were on the flight. The Army Black Hawk was carrying 3 passengers, and all of the passengers in both the airline and the Black Hawk perished in this accident. And it's still under investigation, but, you know, a lot of scenarios are being thrown out there as to how this could have occurred, why this occurred, and how could it have been prevented, you know. And you can imagine how fingers at this point in time are being pointed at this person and that person. But from what I understand, the Army Black Hawk was coming from a training coming from an annual proficient training flight. Mm-hmm. And apparently they were, I read and heard approximately 400 feet, mm-hmm. and the American Airlines was coming in to land, and they did have contact with the air traffic controller, mm-hmm. To where they acknowledged that they saw each other. You know, the pilots acknowledged that they did see one another. So in my opinion, you know, with the Black Hawk being a smaller vehicle, I would have thought that it was the Black Hawk's responsibility to
at least yield to
change its course.
Right. And that's the question I have. Why is it a helicopter? Is it at the same height as an airplane? Or was the airplane landing?
The airplane was coming in for a landing.
They were coming in for a landing. Okay, I could.
And supposedly,
but why are you anywhere near the?
Well, you know, this is in D.C. around mm-hmm. Reagan National Airport. Now, you know, in D.C. they have Black Hawks flying back and forth all the time.
Yeah, because it's D.C. You got DC, so many capital. You got
those high dignitaries,
right.
And sometimes this is how they travel.
Right. Yeah.
So that was nothing out of the norm. But it was a clear night, so you know there was no fog or rain or anything of sort to mess with the sight of either of the pilots. Again, I feel like, you know, the pilot of the Black Hawk, which has been said that he has over 1,000 hours of flight hours recorded, so he was pretty proficient in flying. I think it was just a miscommunication in regards to him not actually seeing the actual plane that the air traffic controller, you know, warned him about. Mm-hmm. You know, but again, there are several scenarios that are being put in there, and like I said, the investigation is still going on. You were about to say something, Comedian 96?
Now, I was, you know, within the last few days, there's been a lot of a few airplane incidences where they've crashed. Now, you know, a couple days ago, This is Sunday. We had an incident with flight 1382 on the United Airline flight. They had to stop their takeoff from George Bush Intercontinental in Houston due to a reported engine around 8:35 on Sunday. So that engine also caught on fire, right? What is going on? Like within the last few days here, it's
actually longer than that. Within the last year or 6 months, if you can recall, the news, the airlines has been in the news for several things.
So within the last few days, been 3 crashes, and then this one incident Sunday with United. So could it be a case of, I don't know, man, training? I guess I don't know.
Well, you gotta look at, man, each crash or mechanical failure. It might not be a crash, but a mechanical failure, like in the case of the engine catching on fire, all that stuff has to be investigated, right? So, in regards to UK, what happened in DC, I mean, you would have to look at, based upon what the news is saying. In my opinion, after hearing what the news is saying, I think that there was a pilot error on behalf of the military pilot.
I agree.
I think, based upon what the news is saying, that he was flying at a higher altitude than he should have. And then also, based upon the news footage that I saw, there was more than one plane that you could actually see. So
it's a possibility he could have reported seeing one plane but not the other one.
That's what I was saying. I think he misunderstood, or not necessarily misunderstood, just thought he was seeing the plane that the air traffic controller was warning him about. When in fact, it was a different plane.
And in regards to what you were talking about, Comedian 96, about the engine catching on fire before it took off, that could actually be, it could be something dealing with a maintenance or a maintenance error or mechanical error, but that also could have something to do with what is called FOD. FOD is called foreign object damage. And basically that could be anything from a bobby pin, like, once those aircraft start turning, it causes intake suction of the intake. And that can be anything from a small little bobby pin, a rock, or something sucking into that intake, into that engine, that can cause it to catch on fire. And of course, we all are familiar, or we all know that even when you're in the air, and a lot of aircrafts get bird strikes.
Right.
And those are called, that's FOD. All that stuff is going into that intake. So it could be a number of things that cause that, situations like that. But you would have to investigate first.
Now, can bird strikes cause the plane to?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it's happened.
I mean,
this is a known issue. I know that causes some planes to, it's not always
go down. Yeah.
Well, it's not always fatal, but birds can cause planes to crash.
Yeah.
Man,
bird strikes are common. I mean, they're very common.
You could think about just a bird, of the right size bird hitting the windshield.
Right.
At 200 miles
can really
an hour.
cause a major catastrophe, because now there's air in the cockpit and it's sucking the pilots out, and if they not strapped in, they might be out of there.
Yeah,
that means the whole plane, the whole plane goes down.
Yeah.
Now I mentioned earlier, it was 60 passengers on the American Airlines, 4 crew members, and a total of 3 crew members on the Army Black Hawk. When the crash occurred, both aircrafts plunged into the Potomac River, which at that time was approximately around 36 degrees, which is just below freezing. So you can imagine, if the crash didn't perish these people, the hypothermia from the water would have kicked in, sooner than later.
That's true.
Comedian 96, you mentioned aircraft incident. Where at and when?
This was at Bush on Sunday. That the plane caught on fire.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And coincidentally, there was another crash that happened just 2 days ago in Philadelphia. So it seems to be a lot going on in the air in these skies nowadays.
I want to mention this because I saw something where there was a smaller aircraft crashed on the Texas highway.
Yeah. That one too.
That was in
Texas cars.
Victoria, Texas.
That's in Victoria.
Okay, but they said that nobody was killed in that accident.
And that's possibly because the pilot was able to land that plane safely, but where he landed, he landed it on the freeway.
Cars ended up hitting it, running into it, because there was no stop.
Sometimes when you have situations to where something in the plane malfunction and cause it to go down, it depends on what is malfunctioning that's causing it to go down. In the instance where that pilot was able to land that plane, he still had control of the plane. Yeah. Just the engines was jacked up, but he still kind of had control of it. Now the plane in Philadelphia, based upon what I saw, it was clear that pilot couldn't control it at all. It was just a straight plummeted.
Yeah, it just went up and down.
Yeah, from what I understood, that flight didn't last no more than a minute.
Yeah, it just up and down.
Now, what is all of this saying about the aviation industry, though? This is not a good look for the aviation industry at all.
I totally agree. This is a bad look for aviation and all of those that are involved with aviation.
My one fear with this would be for the workers, the people who come to work to get on these planes and serve. Of course, you have the stewardess and stuff like that. Their lives are in danger at all times.
At all times. Every time you go to work.
On the job. At work.
At work.
So, I mean, I think, and mind you, some of these airlines, I think it was last year, just got some sort of increase in pay, or something like this. I know a person who's a stewardess, and it was some information she was giving me where they weren't being paid like they should. And then just last year, they came up with whatever the amount was that was suitable for all the workers. But I would say this job itself should have some sort of emergency thing that comes with it, to where automatically this is a life or death situation when you get on this plane. Seemed to me like, because it's no way that if the plane goes down, you don't live. There's no.
So in other words, these workers who like stewardess,
right,
and pilots and all of them, they should get paid hazardous duty pay.
It should be.
Because if you think about it, I would think that the danger of a police officer is probably worse than a flight attendant.
Right.
The danger of a fireman
is probably worse.
It's probably worse.
Yeah.
So, but I still think that they should get some sort of.
Yeah, they should, because here's the thing.
Some sort of hazardous
You're
duty.
thousands of feet in the air, man. You have no chance.
None. You know what? You know how they say in Texas you got to get flood insurance? You got to start getting flight insurance. Every time you get on the plane, I mean, get that $5 flight insurance. Get that cover my expenses.
Well, if you actually have insurance, right, you should have accidental death.
Yeah, that's true.
That will cover you.
Right.
Well,
but
right
everybody
now,
that doesn't have a job, like say I need to take a flight, I'm going from here to, I don't know, Japan. Let me get this flight insurance.
But insurance.
You're talking about prior to each flight, get some type of insurance.
I mean,
what?
I mean, the way it's going, it would be smart.
That would make sense. But what I don't think is that the insurance companies are going to go for that. Because
I think the airlines should add that to the ticket price, if anything.
Yeah.
But let it be optional.
Yeah.
Either you get it or you don't.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think I don't think it'll fly, because ticket prices are high.
They are
as it is.
But
and
if you
mention baggage and all baggage. But
if you think about the insurance, and I think right now, it probably would be beneficial, and I think people would take heed and take advantage of that option, knowing the things that are occurring, in the skies not lately.
Exactly. So if someone decides, you know what, I'm gonna be a flight insurance company, and they open it up, how many times does planes really go down like that?
Many.
And if everybody's being insured, just even at a $5, do you know how much money an insurance company could make?
they making a killing.
You get what I'm saying? So I don't think that's not a bad idea.
It's not, but it's always a catch to it. Dealing with things now the way that we are under this Republican presidential deal. You know,
We gonna bring
that's going to be
Trump
everything that sounds right like it should be is not even in question right now. You know, so that's what we dealing with on this type of situation and dealing with insurance. I don't think that the insurance companies, they're going to make a killing, but is the party going to say, yeah, we should allow this?
Yeah, that's true.
That's probably where it's going to go sour.
Now, okay.
I think also if airlines were to offer that, we mentioned earlier how it's not a good look for aviation. I don't think that would be a good look for airlines to be offering that type of insurance because they're kind of admitting
that this plane might go down.
I mean, it's always a possibility.
It's always a possibility. It's unspoken.
You're
so
saying
you might
that
as
the
well,
chances of now a lot
has
higher.
increased.
It's
more.
increased. Let me get the $5 insurance. I can have my funeral
Hey,
covered.
that is
you know
exactly
what I'm saying?
that is exactly
That's-
what that says.
Yeah.
And see, the problem with if it's just $5, then you got 200 people on the plane, and that plane goes down, and all them people they only spent $5. So let's just say with 200 people, that's $1,000 you made for this flight, but that flight goes down and 200 deaths.
But how many other flights went out that day and all over the world that's covering those 200? Because it's not just one plane. It's a bunch of planes from different
hundreds
states.
of planes.
Yeah, so all them $5 ain't being used.
But what the deal is, we know that's not going to go where it's supposed to go, even if the insurance is covered.
Oh,
all
you
the
know
money
that.
not gonna go
You
where it's
know
supposed
that. I mean, you dealing with the fires right now. But here's my real question, man. You know, as you all know, some of us on the panel was in the military, and then one of us was an airman. Was lucky enough to be an airman, so he knows all about this stuff. That's Freddie G. One of the planes in Philadelphia went up and down, and then the other one was the helicopter colliding. I think one would be more in trouble than the other, because up and down, I think somebody goes to jail. But the helicopter and the plane, I think there's an investigation done, maybe a couple of reprimands.
Well, it's an investigation on both
the
crashes, but you know, determining what caused the crashes will determine, you know, the type of consequences. Like you said, the crash in Philadelphia to me sounded more mechanical,
right?
Whereas the airline and the Army Black Hawk was human error.
That was exactly. So human error. That's the one. Somebody get reprimanded, get chewed out, go to
not necessarily.
But there's no excuse for a plane going up then down. How do you explain that?
Mechanical error, but human error. Let's say the pilot of the Black Hawk was under the influence. Mm-hmm. You think that's just gonna be a slap on the wrist?
No, if he was under the influence, it
that's
totally
what I'm
changes
saying.
the game.
It could be a variety of the punishment could be a variety of things. It just all depends on what comes out of the investigation,
what they determine from it. And I said earlier, because before we did this actual show, we kind of talked a little bit about it. And there was a situation where I was involved in a near accident in a plane.
Yeah.
And man, I'll tell you, it was the scariest thing. And when y'all mentioned, they asked the Black Hawk pilot, did he see the plane?
Right.
Uh-huh.
So here's my experience. And this was a time that we needed a change in the world. And I was in Denver, Colorado. And the night before my flight took off that morning at about 6 a.m. So we were at the airport at 5, and it was a lot of people there. But the day before that, former President Barack had a speech he gave in Denver, Colorado, before he actually won the presidency. Mm-hmm. So there were a lot of political people out there, or people who wanted to be a part of this historical thing that's going on. So anyway, we get on the plane that morning following this speech that President Obama gave. We're on the plane, and I'm going to say we were approximately 10,000 feet in the air. Mm-hmm. Now, anytime I've been on a plane, I'm going to get a window seat. Some people say they don't want to see.
Yeah.
I want to
You
know.
want to see.
I want to see. I want to give myself a chance to brace myself and do whatever I can to get out of harm's way.
Yeah.
Although up there, it's only so much you can do. But here's the deal. We're about 10,000, 15,000 feet in the air already, and I'm looking west of our direction. So I'm looking out, and of course we're above the clouds. So there's nothing obstructing your view, your vision. Believe it or not, how far you can see when there's no obstruction. In the air, man, I'm telling you, this plane, I saw the plane looking to the west. Had to have been hundreds of miles because we're going hundreds of miles per hour.
Right.
Yeah.
So this plane was way out there, man. So we get a little higher in altitude, and I'm guessing now we up to about 21,000 feet in the air. And I'm still looking out the window. Now, mind you, 10 minutes ago, I saw that plane. I didn't know which way the plane was going.
Yeah, you
I just knew it was a plane.
Right.
Yeah.
Man, when I tell you we got about 21,000 feet into the air, and coming from the west side that I was looking at, here comes this plane, and we meet like right here, and the plane's maybe 300-400 feet higher than we
Oh
are.
man.
And whatever's never supposed to be this.
Yeah, I can imagine that shouldn't be occurring.
That's why I say I blame air traffic control for a lot of this stuff because, period, there's a time frame. You know where this plane is going to meet in a certain amount of time. You know how fast it's going. This is a method that the astronauts use to get to outer space. I know y'all know this stuff. You're dealing with it on a much smaller level.
Yep.
Altitude and longitude. At speed, you should be able to calculate this. This is what your job is, to make sure that none of these planes are crossing this close. But, man, I tell you, had that plane that I saw to the west of us been a few hundred feet lower, boom,
We'd collide.
it would have hit me on my side. Boom.
Yeah.
I saw it coming.
Yeah.
Didn't know how far it was, so I blame air traffic control off the muscle. Regardless, we need to start here talking about what's going on.
Well, I got a maintenance story. That's why I say I got a maintenance story. I've been in a couple, two and a possible air incidences. So the one that really trips me out to this day, this one, the wheels wouldn't come out.
Yeah.
When the
landing
landing gear wouldn't come out, right? Wow. So the guy comes on, he said, "Hey, passengers, we're having problems with the landing gear, so we're going to do a belly land." It was the front one. We may have to do a belly land. It's going to be a little rough. The back wheels are coming out, but the belly, we're going to land on our belly.
Right.
Nobody panicked. Nobody.
Yeah.
We was out, wasn't talking. We was just normal,
That
right?
is the procedure they have to use.
Yeah, so nobody panicked.
Yeah.
We get down. We get ready to make the land. And he's announcing it, and he's telling us, he's, oh, okay, the wheel came out. It came out. So the wheel came out, so it was a safe landing. We get on the ground. There's like 5 ambulances, 5 fire trucks waiting on
They
our
had already
runway.
been notified. Yeah.
Now, you know how you coming in slowly driving the plane. Now you're driving to go to your window so we can exit. That's when everybody starts screaming, "Oh my God! Ah!" We
Y'all
safe.
on the ground now.
We're on the ground now.
Yeah.
I'm like, people are crazy.
Yes, indeed they are. and the pilot, what he said is a method to where they cannot say it to where you panic. Because if
nobody
they're trained to remain calm.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
this is what the pilot was saying while the plane was flying 300 feet above us. Oh, coming from the west side, there's a plane. He's about 400 feet above us. We're going to be okay. We're going to make him however that shit is.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at the plane like, I was on the plane with a guy. Well, he now lives in Denver. I forget what we went out there for, but anyway, he was on the row in front of me on the window seat, same side I was on, but just in the row in front of me. So I'm doing this, and I say, "Hey, man, did you see that plane?" He said, "What plane?" I said, "Man, you're not looking out the window, bro." Man, the plane was, I could have stuck my hand out and touched it.
Ooh.
This how close it was. It's never supposed to be that fucking close. You see where the ceiling is, right?
Yeah.
This is my flight on the plane. The bottom of the other plane was right there.
Yeah, that's too close.
You could read the serial number.
Why are we in the same vicinity?
Yeah.
Bro. That could have been a horrible, death-defying accident.
Yeah,
What it started making me believe now, because remember, this was a political thing, and a lot of those people from from this political party or this speech that Barack gave came from different places. So, of course, they on their way back. And Houston is a big place where people follow politics. So it started to make me think, who the hell on this plane? Is it somebody on this plane?
Conspiracy
Was
shit.
this a target? You know what I mean?
That's normally how I think, bro. And I'm not going to even lie. I still kind of think this crash that occurred in D.C. Still may be some...
It's possible.
Some
Yeah.
conspiracy type
It's
of...
possible, man.
And time will tell. Right now, the National Transportation Safety Board is leading the investigation, and they have recovered the cockpit voice recorder and flight data recorder from the plane and the Black Hawk. You know, whenever incidences like this occur, the black box is one of the first things that they try to retrieve, which, you know, kind of gives them a chronological situation,
Timeline,
of what occurred.
Yeah.
And, you know, I've heard a comedian back in the day say, why they don't make this plane out of the same shit the black box is made out of.
Right.
I wanted to ask you, Freddie G, where is the black box actually located, if you have any knowledge of that? Because I know you're probably the most advanced on airplanes or dealing with airplanes on this podcast.
Or maybe we should say Freddie G is airfare.
Well, so where it's actually located would be different on depending on the
on the
plane,
aircraft.
Yeah.
right? And the planes I dealt with were jets, what they would call S3 jets.
Fighter jets.
Well, no, they weren't fighter jets. They were jets to refuel fighter jets in the air with buddy stores. So that
you get fuel in the air?
yeah. So the short answer to your question, K Money, it just depends on the type of aircraft. I wouldn't be able to tell you exactly where each box is located.
Now, would it be in the cockpit? Is that where the black box is? Well, the ones
not
that you did,
not directly in the cockpit,
but somewhere near it.
Yeah. So, but it's different for every plane, just like a helicopter. It would be totally different, located totally different from where
Probably a different device even in
a jet deal is. So again, the short answer to it just depends on the plane. K Money.
Okay, I thought they were all probably located in the same vicinity, regardless of the like on all planes, they were located in one specific area. All helicopters, one specific area. I thought maybe something like that. You were about to say something, Comedian 96?
Yeah, he just hurt my heart with something. You know, I'm a movie buff, so he said you can refuel in the air. Now I gotta go scratch all the movies out of my head that they were running out of fuel in the air, because the whole time they could have gotten somebody to come out and refuel.
Speaking of military.
Oh,
jets.
not the plane.
Military jets, military fighter jets. You could refuel in the air. And the squadron I was in, we did a lot of refueling. It's called with the buddy store.
Okay, so you can't refuel the commercial airplane jet.
Nah, I don't think so.
Okay, then
I'm
never
sure
mind.
you can, but you got to think about it. Military do it for a certain reason.
You don't want to be on a commercial plane and have to get refueled.
Yeah, for real.
Well, I mean, if you're flying 17 hours,
Yeah, but it's supposed to hold that much. You got flights that take that long.
Yeah.
That they are fully fueled.
Because people like nonstop
Or
flights.
if they have a
Instead of us
layover, they will
having to
refuel.
stop-
Right, they'll refuel. They'll refuel.
when you take them long flights, some people, I don't like, if I got a 17-hour flight, I don't want to land at another country, then go
And
back
then wait
up
an
in
hour
the air,
to go back.
Go back up.
Yeah.
Fuel me in the air, man, so we can keep going, because I definitely don't.
I'd rather land
Yeah,
and get
go
refueled.
because that way I can put my feet on solid ground again.
Then too, you gotta think when you're refueling like that in the air, those pilots got to be trained a little differently.
Yeah.
Oh,
than-
okay.
Than another
Because
pilot,
that speed
because-
included.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
gotta. It's a whole
Movement. You can't move too far over this way. You got to be right in the right, because you could crash
That's true.
even then.
Yeah, because you got to need another
Yeah,
plane to do
to
it.
do
Now,
it.
believe it or not, like when you're refueling, it's not side by side.
So it's under
It's no.
on top of
One plane is in front, the other one's behind, and there's a little
it
thing
drops a
that
little
comes
thing,
out.
come out.
Yeah.
And
It's cool,
well,
man. If you can see this shit while it goes on, it's some live stuff to see.
Yeah, 'cause
I was on a ship that we
did
did
it.
that underway, and I thought that was pretty cool as well.
Because how does this little thing know where to connect to? Does it? Is it a sensor on it?
Well, you act that.
How do you know where to put your... Never mind.
That's
you know
not
where to
human. The plane is not human form. Right?
Yeah, I get it, but I don't.
I can imagine right now the anxiety of folks flying is at an all-time high. There hasn't been a crash like this, I think, that has occurred within the last time a crash like this of this nature occurred was probably like 15 years ago.
Yeah, which is a long time. Man.
Yeah, so like I said, the anxiety of folks wanting to fly nowadays, I can imagine, is at a all-time high. I'm glad I don't really have any trips scheduled,
Man.
no time soon. Because, I don't have a fear of flying, but I'm a big dude, so I'm already not totally comfortable when I'm on a plane.
Yeah.
So to be on that motherfucker for 3 hours or more, it's just not a comfortable feeling for me. And then to have something like this occur just, takes it to another level.
I'll tell you, I don't have a fear of flying. I have a fear of flying and dying.
I have the fear of crashing.
Because right now, man, if I have to get on a plane right now, the way these 3 scenarios just happened within the last week,
right?
Yeah,
man, I'm not booking nothing on no flight.
yeah.
Nothing.
I'm walking. It's 1,904 miles.
Now, if we
walk.
can't drive to it,
yeah,
I'm done. I'm not going, man.
Yeah, I'm done.
And this could last a whole year.
The investigations.
No, I mean me getting on a plane
it
could be 2-3 years from now before I say I'm getting on a plane.
But you're not going to be by yourself. Like I said, I can imagine several people, that feel the exact same way. Like I say, currently investigations are going on, man. Our hearts go out to the those that are and have been affected by this tragedy. I don't know what can be done in the future to prevent these type of disasters from occurring, but we need to do something to try to preserve lives and where pedestrians can feel a lot safer to travel, because I know this is definitely going to put a negative mark on traveling altogether. I thank y'all for joining us, man. Come back. Peace. This concludes another True Tuesday episode, and be sure you tune in tomorrow for another episode of Women Wednesday with Freddie G. Don't forget to follow us on X, formerly known as Twitter, at 52 Scott Podcast, Instagram and Facebook, the 52 Scott Podcast, and if you're on YouTube, don't forget to like and or subscribe. And to all my 52 Scott faithfuls, it may be new to you, but if you heard it here, then you know it's true.